order the USD 489 school board meeting for Monday, April 10th, 2023. I want to welcome everybody that's in attendance tonight or watching online. The board docs had the agenda that was put out a few days ago. We will go through the agenda tonight. We will have a couple of executive sessions at the end of the agenda. There will not be any action after the executive sessions. Right now, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented in board docs?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any discussion?
Mr. President?
Yes.
When was the agenda completed?
I believe it was sent out approximately 2:30 Friday, I think. I can't tell you the exact time.
Okay, but was it completed earlier in the week? Or was it completed?
The superintendent and the assistant vice president and myself met Friday morning, and then there were some things that needed to be added to the agenda, and as I answered in the email to you, that it would be put out later in the day.
You were talking about the email on, or the text to me on Tuesday?
No, I believe on Friday, or, I don't know, you asked when is the agenda going to be put out? Is it out yet? And I said Friday afternoon because we had met and there was some things we needed to add to it.
Okay, I'm just requesting that, especially on a holiday weekend, a couple times when you meet before, or when you have that available, just send it out as soon as possible. I would really appreciate it.
We will do it. It was hard just because staff was off Friday and Monday also. Okay, any other discussion on the agenda? If not, I'll call for the vote. All for approval of the agenda, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All opposed, say no. Seven oh, agenda approval. Mine's a little slow getting through. Okay, I appreciate that. Get back at, well, I lost it on my computer. That's okay.
Consent agenda.
What?
Consent agenda.
Okay, I will go through about the mission of USD 49 is to provide a quality learning experience for every student and every day, in every classroom every day. To support the mission of the district, the USD 49 board includes supporting a vision that encompasses high student achievement, highly effective staff, effective and positive communications, and effective management of resources. Also vital to keeping the focus on the district's mission and vision are that the USD 49 Board of Education supports the district core values, being a champion of all kids, bringing your best every day, carrying the banner for your school and district, selling and creating possibilities and opportunities for our students for their futures. And I appreciate the staff and the faculty working through the mission and our vision every day. Now, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to remove personal transactions, please.
Okay.
2.5.
I'll wait for Jess. We've got a request to remove personnel transactions out of the consent agenda.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I request to remove 2.2, disposal of obsolete district property.
Okay, Jess, also 2.2, obsolete properties.
And just to be clear, those will go below the Hayes High School design review update?
Yes.
And the 6s.
6.1?
6.2 and 6.3 probably.
Okay, any others? Okay, hearing none.
I so move the changes for the consent agenda.
Second. I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with those two removed from the consent agenda. All.
I made the motion.
Tammy made the motion.
Okay. All in favor of approval of the consent agenda, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All Opposed? No.
And then you tell us when you're ready to
I second it.
do your thing.
I'm going to take just 1 second to try to get it back on my computer.
Maybe some wonderful may work.
I did. And are you ready for us to refresh?
If not, I'll go to pencil and
Okay.
paper.
We can refresh now, Mr. President.
Okay.
Beautifully done, Jess.
Okay, we're hopefully at 3.1 on the agenda. AGC Awards, USD 489. Ron?
You bet. We have tonight, we have Dave Schoendahl from Glassman Corporation, and he would like to present an award to the district for their work on Roosevelt Elementary. So Dave, take it forward.
Good evening, board members, Mr. Wilson. I'm here tonight on behalf of Joe Glassman and Glassman Corporation to present a plaque to the district. We submitted on the Roosevelt HVAC upgrade, which took place the summer of '21, and we were judged through the AGC's judging criteria, and the project was given the award of honor. So we have a plaque here that we would like to present to the district, Mr. Wilson. And we wanted to also say thank you for the partnership that we have and for the jobs you have. Let's complete and the ones in progress. Again, we thank you for all that you've done to help us with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That has always been a really good partnership between the district and Glassman and everyone, just with the trying to get everything done and work around teachers and kids' schedules and everything. It's just been a good all-around partnership. Okay, we have a second recognition tonight, right?
Okay, not trying to top that, but we are going to top that. We have a teacher who's going into the Hall of Fame. So Gloria Blackwell, vocal teacher for the district, will be one of the 7 inductees who will be part of the Kansas Teachers Hall of Fame class of 2023. Anita, would you like to come up and Gloria, pop up here? You're a Hall of Fame, man. You got it.
I'd like to read my nomination. I want you to hear all of it, I know. Because I want you to know that Gloria has been at Wilson Elementary and with USD 489 for 26 years, but she has taught music in Kansas for 48 years.
That's good.
And during that time, she's developed a reputation for being a passionate advocate and leader of arts education, not just in our region, but across the state. And she tirelessly advocates for children. She goes above and beyond what is expected to build excellence in her students by leading special singing groups, arranging special community performances, writing grants to procure instruments so that students can have other opportunities that they wouldn't have otherwise. And that exposure helps broaden our students' musical knowledge, experiences, and engagement. Students are well prepared to continue pursuing music classes at the middle school level and beyond. Gloria builds a very strong foundation that contributes to the musical excellence that we've seen in USD 489. Beyond that, this is what I really love about Gloria, that she utilizes lots of genres, lots of instruments, but also incorporates a unifying theme. She creatively engages and motivates students to a very high degree. She is a distinguished educator who understands and implements very effectively all domains of instruction and learning. She seeks out opportunities for students to make real-life connections to music. Perhaps more notable is the importance that Gloria places on relationships with each student. Her love of the students is as palpable as her love of music, helping her build strong relationships that support and strengthen the child in all aspects of life by being that person they know believes in them. She guides each child to discover his or her joy and talent through music. How you doing?
Anita.
I'm a quiet person. Well, and I ended with this.
Not in classroom, but otherwise I am.
Her legacy is broad, her impact is immeasurable, and her scope is irreplaceable. And that's why we asked them to honor and recognize Gloria for her massive contribution to music education through her induction into the Kansas Teacher Hall of Fame.
If you put me in, am I loud? If you put me in front of the kids, I probably would talk. But I'm actually, I know nobody will believe this, I'm kind of a shy person. Nobody will believe that, but the kids bring it out of me. I truly love my kids. I say they're all mine. And it makes me sad when I don't think I've reached someone, and I just keep trying. I guess that's why I'm still here. I just, it's who I am, and it's what I do. And I love what I do. So, thank you so much.
Mrs. Blackwell, when you say that you love the kids, they love you. You've done tremendous work, and when Anita said it was immeasurable, the impact you've had, that is true. You're an incredible woman, and thank you for all you've done for our kids.
I have a few things to add too. Mrs. Blackwell, you're a wonderful educator. Even though you give me this sign in the morning when I try to get through that crosswalk. But she's there before school, helping kids across and getting into school. She's allowed my children to come into our house and gain an appreciation for music after school. And you have to be a music teacher because you're a little on the borderline. When you let that many percussion instruments out during a concert, it's crazy. I've never seen so many things out there. But thank you for what you do for our kids. Appreciate it.
Really bad.
It's getting worse?
Well, I was playing with this last
Well, you have the whole stage covered.
Mr. President, also I'd like to comment that all the things that Mrs. Blackwell has done, but I also would like to appreciate Mrs. Sheeby for nominating her and making that possible so that we hear about the heroes in our district. And if that wouldn't be possible without your help in that. So thank you for doing that for our district.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Ron, can I take just a second to talk about the retirements?
You bet.
We have 3 retirements tonight on personnel, and all 3 of them have been at Hayes Middle School, Felton Middle School. So when I saw all 3 of them were retiring, I just feel compelled to talk about all of them for just a couple of minutes. Sherry Nelson, a teacher that is retiring after 9 years, but Sherry is one of those that came in and she had the opportunity to be in our building and would teach all subjects, every subject, and it's whatever the different departments needed, the principal needed, and Sherry has just been a good advocate for kids as a teacher in the building, not a long-term, but really a very important part of the middle school. Anna Snyder, 21 years of service, and her service has been with our special needs classrooms and recognition. They don't get a lot of recognition, and I'm one of these people that say there is no one in the building more important than our paras and our support staff, especially with the kids that they work with every day and get from 6th grade ready for the high school as they're moving on there. And it takes a lot to get up and to work as a para in our buildings for 21 years. So, if she was here, this is one of those, you just go, you just have a drive to work with the kids. And Janine Caberline, special ed para for 32 years. She has been in our building through several teachers, through several administrators, working with our kids, and I have never heard Janine raise her voice at me or at one of the kids or anyone in the building, because she just had a mission to work with our kids. And you will, I always say we will be lucky, very, very lucky, if we find 2 people in the next 20 years that will work that long as a para in our district. So I want to make sure that they are recognized with Sherry also. So, thank you. 4.1, public comment. Let me read real quick the guidelines. Speakers are asked to start with stating name and address when they reside, where they reside. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes to make their presentations. Speakers are asked to make only points that have not been made previously. Except to ask clarifying questions, board members shall not interact with speakers at the open forum. The board asks that all members of the public respect these rules so that everyone that wants an opportunity to provide input that has not already been given a chance has that chance. Do I have anyone in the audience that would like to talk to the board, give us input tonight? Okay, seeing none, we will move on. 5.1, Superintendent's Report. Ron?
Yeah, I'll just run through a list of things. We're going to talk more about Bond, or specifically the high school, but a little bit on Roosevelt. Bid packages look like will be Wednesday, I believe is the day that we'll start that whole process. We had a pre-bid meeting today. We had, I believe, over 40 contractors who were here. That doesn't mean that's all, but that was a good showing. So it was things are looking good. So things are ramping up for Roosevelt. Also wanted to just make the board aware that starting next year, we were approved for a vaping grant called the ECHO grant, and this will just allow us to do some education with students across the district about the impact and dangers of vaping. And so we'll be starting that next year. And so our district did get approved for that grant. Just a quick legislative update. Once again, I won't go into a ton, but after some late night shenanigans on the very last night of the session, there was just lots of stuff going on. They put together some bills that came out of the education committees, and a lot of them had some stuff that really, specifically one of them cut funding for our school districts, and luckily the House did pass that, which I really was disappointed about, but the Senate didn't pass it, so right now it's kind of at a standstill. The other bill they never got to. They will come back for the veto session here in a few weeks, and they'll take care of some, because right now we really haven't got finalized on our funding for next year. It's still kind of out there. We're hopeful we will get what they have said was part of the Gannon lawsuit. We're hopeful for that. So right now we're still a little up in the air. So as board members, if you do talk to any representatives, please encourage them to that we appreciated those that voted against Senate Bill 83, and we appreciated their support. So if you need specifics on that, I'd be glad to share all the specifics of who that would be. Also, I just wanted to give a quick shout out, because she won't do it herself, but Shanna was asked by the state to be a part of the Curriculum Leaders Advisory Council. This is a pretty neat honor. She was actually selected and asked if she'd be a part of this. I think it's it's not a huge group, and so Shanna will be giving input to state leaders in what direction the state needs to go on curriculum. So hats off to Shanna. She does a great job. Not quite Hall of Fame, but still pretty good. So, I did include in your board packet the sales tax update. Things are looking good. Chris put together a spreadsheet for you to see some of that.
Hey,
And
those numbers, can you explain them to me? Because they're not adding when we do that total at the bottom.
So if you look, the January, in that very first payment was actually 2 months' worth. So if you break those two out, you can see off to the side, I broke those two in half. One was actually the first, they both showed in January just because that was the first month of December when we got it.
So that's December.
Right, so we got one early January that was actually the December payment, and then late January for the actual January payment. Those are all coming in 1 month arrears. So that first December payment was for the October sales tax collected, and the month of November to process it and receive it.
Well, what I'm asking, it says at the bottom, total receipt through March, and it's got 444,000. So where's that number coming from?
Let's see.
You didn't sum down far enough, probably.
Yeah, probably so.
You should be well over $1 million.
So the average was right around 300,000. Yeah,
Could be close to
the total, the average is 327. Yeah, the total didn't.
It's like
didn't sum all the
It's
way
not-
down.
It's gonna be close to
Yeah.
1.3 million.
Right.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
I give you what the total is.
Your sum didn't.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I'll pull that if you want to keep going.
It's 1.3.
And I've just included the Purple Wave sales on a lot of the items that have been Purple Wave, so you have that as well. That's all I got.
Is the tractors, they didn't sell it, so they put it back on, or who knows?
We can try to put it back on,
But that's
there
what,
there comes a point
Because I
where,
wasn't intentional, I just-
I don't know.
Scrap metal?
yeah, ditch yard, I don't know what it goes.
Which one are you talking about, Mr.?
that old tractor, it's listed down there at the bottom, and they did not get
Oh,
it bids.
it's
is it?
on right now.
Oh, it's back on?
It's back on. What about I was asking one about the 66 tractor? Ford tractor we approved.
Is that the tractor you're asking about, Kurt?
No, there's one at the bottom here, I don't know.
1973
That's
Ford
73.
3000 tractor.
Yeah, isn't that the one they used at Hayes High one to scrape out the lot?
Yeah, I
That's
don't
it.
know about another tractor.
But on that, the one before that was the 1966, this 465 is what it was in that we approved. Was it not ever on Purple Wave?
But isn't that the one where that guy messed up?
Yeah,
it
that's,
wasn't right.
I'm only aware of one tractor, so I don't know. I'll have to ask questions.
And that's why they pulled it?
Yeah.
Because for a while, they had a big explanation, this has been pulled because of. this
Well,
tobacco
yeah, they
representative.
basically put it on before we had brought it to the board, and so we pulled it back off, and then the guy got sick, and then.
That was, yeah, that was one where they had.
So.
And the
come
pictures
out,
weren't quite right, yeah.
Put it on too soon.
What about the two-post lift that we had at the bus barn? It was on there, now it's not, and it wasn't on this list.
It sold last week, probably just before this was put
Yeah.
together.
It's sold
Or sold after, yeah. We'll make sure that. we
on
get
Purple
that.
Wave.
Okay, any other questions? If not, we'll move on down to 6.1, Hayes High School Design Review Update. Ron, do you want to introduce our guests, or do you want to start?
This is not Hall of Fame, but this might be Hall of Fame worthy. Kirby Pennington, who's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame someday. I'm just going to let you take it away.
Okay, thanks, Ron. Thank you, Jess. Just get my computer.
This is better than last time so far. Looking good.
Hey! Hey! All right.
I never know which way to look. I'm about
Good
halfway.
to see all of you again. I'm Kirby Pennington. I'm the lead project architect for the new Hayes High School.
I'm just, the representative standing up front, but we have a huge team working on this to put a high school together, so it's a pretty exciting operation on our end as well. I'll just start off by going through the site plan, and we'll kind of narrow down and then start talking about the building. Some pretty exciting images to show you. So here's the site plan from last time. You can see how it's just further developed and refined. At the north of the screen is 13th Street, and you can see in the white on the left is the existing high school. Circle Drive in the front with staff parking and visitor parking, and that's the main entrance to the campus. And then along the right side is the entrance for the student parking and for the athletic parking as well that can be used twofold. Then you can see the multi-purpose fields. There's lots of turf going in, so making those fields as functional as possible. Both the football fields, the existing and the new, have lighting, which makes them usable even after hours, that are typical with the sun, and then are typical to how you use fields now with the sun hours. Turf softball field, track and field events. So just lots of exciting things there from an athletics perspective. If we dive one layer into, this just gives you a kind of an aerial axon view of what the site looks like from a distance. This is looking from the south side, obviously at the football field on the south side, but you can see the building behind it, how it kind of frames around that field, which we like to think of as a teaching opportunity too. Class can just walk right outside and use that as an outdoor teaching learning space. So I've got a video here. I'm hoping that the sound works. It worked earlier. Shelter. Main entrance. Entry as well as the performing arts entry. Grandstand is integrated into the building and moving towards the athletic complex entry. full seating gymnasium that is also open to both the auxiliary gym and the main gym from the top. Very
Exciting.
I get goosebumps when I see that
Yeah,
auditorium.
if that doesn't raise your heart rate.
I'm really
I'm telling
excited
you.
for you guys.
That is a lot.
Get it started.
Well, if you
So
can put something like that together, it would be amazing.
Oh, yeah, let's watch it again.
So these are some more rendered views that show you a little, the video is, pretty quick moving, but this shows you a little bit more what the materials will look like. So the the cleaned up views. So you can see from the outside, the finishes. They've got metal panel and brick, and at all the main entries, we've got limestone and a warmer wood. It is also a metal panel, so it's not, it's all resilient materials that'll be long-lasting. If you'd like any, you're all welcome to review the finish boards and material samples back there that both interior and exterior, the concept. So, and Abby will be here to talk to you a little bit about the interiors too. So this is that main entry, and then that outdoor concourse in the back, looking back at the grandstands and the press box, weights room, double-story weights room, athletic entry, and then that south student entry / performing arts entry. That large parking can serve as the function for the students as well as after hours. And then that large span of glass facing the field. And let's see, that kind of covers that from an exteriors perspective. Abby? And Abby Baker is our interior designer on the project. So love to have her talk through some of the interior slides.
Thanks, Kirby.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice to be here, everyone. I'm Abby Baker, interior designer on Hayes High, so super excited to be here today with you all and share kind of the interior development that we have going on. Wanted to start by talking out a little bit about our interior concept. We were really inspired by this idea of the compass being this thing that kind of guides travelers on their journeys, and relating that to high school, helping to guide students, through their education and further on into their path in life. So throughout the interiors, you'll see a lot of textures and patterns kind of inspired by maps, topographical drawings, things that you find in nature. But in the midst of it all, we always wanted to drive home the point that Hayes is home, and you can always find home in the community here. So no matter how far your journey may take you, this is always the place you can come back to. So we'll start with a quick view in the commons, kind of your central space of the school, that heart of the building. So this is the view you'll see when you walk in that north entrance. This would be kind of looking to your right, so you'll see we've got all the space for students to spread out, have lunch. This would be an amazing community space as well, after hours for events and any other things that the community might need access to. This is a view looking from that second level concourse and a thoroughfare through the school, so you can see in the distance there that learning stair, so bringing in your Hayes maroon, just really creating an active and exciting learning environment. Looking over into the classroom wings of the schools, we have these learning commons. So you'll see these are shared spaces, so classes can come out. They're kind of flanking both walls of this side, so classes can come out, have this nice ancillary space to be able to have extra meetings or fun breakout sessions during class. So again, creating a very active and engaging environment for students to learn in multiple different areas. Here's another view of that same kind of space, looking at the entry portals into the classrooms. We wanted to bring in that idea of, again, kind of that front porch feel, that welcome mat as your threshold into each of the classrooms with that enlarged room signage.
So that's a hallway and...
Yes, this is kind of in between. You've got your teacher planning center over on your right here, and then some of your classrooms here on the left. And there are 4 learning commons throughout the building, and each of the learning commons will have its own color identity, so to help with wayfinding and help students kind of know where they are throughout the building. So you'll see we've got kind of some of the green views here, we've got a yellow pod, and then we have a teal and kind of a blue pod. So all those finishes are back by the door if you guys want to take a look on your way out. Moving on to your Performing Arts Center. You guys, there was a great view of that in the fly-through, so I think it'll be a truly amazing space for all of the performances held here.
What's the seating?
What?
Seating?
Seating? Yeah.
About 800.
Okay.
And it's ramped all the way through, so it's 80.
Yes. Yes. Fully ADA accessible, and we've got,
Is there a dock of any kind nearby, or?
There is, right just adjacent behind the stage is the stage trap area, and there's a pull-up area for any kind of deliveries and a garage door.
alrighty, moving on to the athletics, the gym. Bringing in that maroon again, kind of in your bleacher seating, still working through some of the branding and things that will happen here, making sure that that's in line with all of the Hayes brand standards. It's kind of a good idea. This is the main gym, and the auxiliary gym, the ancillary gym would be kind of behind you in this view. The track that runs around. And then looking at the media center, creating that very kind of active and exciting environment. So you'll have the teaching spaces a little bit more toward the back of this view, and kind of lounge and ancillary seating for students in the front, along with the stacks. And we'll hand it back off to Kirby for project schedule.
Abby, I have a question. If roll back to the classrooms. Okay, that's good enough. Are there blinds or partitions that,
For the glazing
for
here?
those classrooms, like, I'm
Yes.
telling you, I taught for 31 years. If I'm teaching and 3
And
kids
something's
walk
happening
by,
outside.
like my whole audience.
Yes,
So there's,
there will be blind, or shades
Okay.
that fully cover all the windows, so teachers
You
will have
up or
control
down
over
or
that.
whatever,
Yep,
depends on-
yep,
okay.
just a manual shade.
I was just thinking,
Yes, always something to think about.
we're gonna lose focus quite often if they walk.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions on the interior
that's-
before we move on?
Just quickly do a schedule update, and then we can open the floor for any questions. So, project milestones, this is pretty much the same schedule since that we showed last time, just showing that construction is going to start this summer once we go through bidding and negotiations. That's the process that Roosevelt is in right now, so we'll go through the same thing. Start construction in July, so really you'll start to see things move. You know, I won't speak for Nabholz, but in August is really when you'll see things start to happen. Just getting the wheels going on a big project, so 2 years for construction, so May of 2025 is when you'll see the final completion of this project. That's what we have to share with you all today. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
So this year's freshmen would be seniors?
Can you go to the picture that has like the outside print? With
One of
the
the
parking and everything?
So the site plan?
Yeah. Is there parking in the front of the building? Is that just staff parking?
So let me see if I can change my view so I can point to things. Maybe we can zoom in a little. So you see my cursor? So up, if this is the north side of the campus, this is parking right here.
Okay.
Designated for who?
So this is designated for visitor and staff.
The high school students will park in 2 places. Over there to the right, or we can put, well, there.
Oh, to the right, so
Yep, so that's the main student parking. And then see the partition there, there's a median. That separates middle school parking, pickup really, and then the rest of that is high school parking. So we always say like,
the
you know,
current parking.
if I'm an athlete, I could literally park there and then make that short walk, and that's the locker room space right there. So there's options where the students park, but those are the 2 sides.
That's the current parking lot, correct?
And so
Yes.
parking for
Yep.
visiting, it'd be those 2 places too, for if they're coming for ball games and things like that?
All of it, all
Yep.
of it, yeah.
So if you're going to a basketball game, which one would you go?
You
Or
can
Performing Arts?
park
That's
on either
basketball
side.
there?
Yep, either side will funnel you in. Right under here is a direct corridor right to the stairs that take you up into the basketball arena.
And then the Performing Arts is on the opposite side of the gym, is that right? Those 2 wings?
Yep, right over here. So you
So
can, and
what
then
about
that can be.
handicap parking? Would
We
they be
have-
parking out front or?
Handicap parking in all parking lots, so, right, it'll be the front spaces in each lot.
So we'll have multiple doors open or for entrance for games and performing arts?
Depending on the event, yes, that can be controlled, but yes.
Because currently, right now, we just usually have one entrance. So there'll be multiples.
Yeah, we've got it from a safety and security perspective.
And there is handicap entrances as well. Okay.
Every main door will have a handicap
Push button.
accessible.
Oh, that's good.
And entry, you talked about student entry being one side. What about drop-off?
So we've got, parent drop-off and pickup all happens right along this space right here. So that will be that main, for parking and student, which this has been coordinated by the traffic engineer, so you can do both. Students can come in, there's a lane where parents can wait and a lane for student traffic to come in beside it.
Okay.
And where do the parents go out after the loop?
So to keep circulation, well, they're working through with traffic at the current moment, but the last I was aware of is that you come through and you just keep moving right on out.
That's a great way to go.
Instead of going back out on 13th.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, okay, that's the latest, so.
Yeah.
And then
So
once
those will
upon,
be connected.
Okay, so earlier, the
Yep, they do
entrance,
connect.
the entrance you showed us the picture of earlier, was that the visitor entrance or was that the student entrance?
They look very similar. So the main entrance is this is the front of the school, visitor and staff parking come in this entrance. And then the back entrance looks like this, so you can kind of see how that glass.
And those doors right there are
doors.
the main entrance for the kids?
For kids.
And then we do have, let me go to back to that site plan. This, there is an entrance here with a covered canopy and a student card access point at that place too. So they're all
So-
controlled access points.
So those student entrances, both of those would be card
Both.
entry.
Both of them, and so it can be controlled too with after hours. If a student arrives late, we've got our
They don't have
safety
to
and
go all the way
security.
around to the front of the building to be let in by the
Yep,
office.
exactly, and that will register directly to the office, so there's going to be an intercom.
So will students be moving back and forth from the buildings? I mean, what about the shop areas? Is that now
So
in the old building?
there will be access to some of the spaces in that CTE shop area.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why we have that secure
Covered.
entry point at this point and then at the existing building. So this will be that direct connection path.
So those, we aren't having new rooms for those?
There are, most of those spaces will
Like
be.
the wood shop, is that a new shop, new space?
So the wood shop, the metal shop is the large shop that will be in the new building, but the wood shop, it made sense to keep the space of the wood shop with their lofted storage. Just made sense to keep it right where it is. And so reutilizing that, you can now use the metals lab in the existing, in that existing E-building as the middle school woods, and it's directly adjacent to the woods program.
And the BOAG, is that also stay over there?
There will be the agriculture and animal science will be at the new high school. So really the only programs that we were trying to balance being fiscally responsible with. We've really dove into this middle school program, or the middle school building, and you've got excess amount of space there. And with the cost of square footage being as astronomical as it is, you have quite a bit of extra space, particularly in that E-building. And the storage space that was requested for the woods particular was just if you're buying 2 classrooms worth of storage space for the projects that they're doing, it was almost cost prohibitive to be paying for that new when you have it right here and it's so close to the current site. So when we originally started this project, we intentionally aligned the CTE here with the CTE heavy programs here, with the potential of that opportunity of those two corresponding with each other and having a CTE yard opportunity.
The greenhouse is staying,
The greenhouse is staying.
but the ag labs are going to be in the new.
So
How's that gonna work?
that was a discussion. So when we came and met with all the teachers in December after we met, we did the schematic design presentation, met with all the teachers, and we said, oh, we've got this great concept of this smaller portion of a greenhouse on the second floor. And we talked back and forth with the teacher, and she was really worried about, that's a lot of dirt to be hauling up to the second floor. I'm not quite sure of the feasibility of that. And so we said, okay, well, that really makes sense to put that back down on the first floor. And then so we were talking about, okay, well, do we need to, rebuild a greenhouse right here? And then we realized we're rebuilding a greenhouse just so many feet away from where it currently exists. And it's like, well, this is almost silly. If we can keep that program, it's extra space that the middle school is not going to be using. How can we make this efficient and really work
So
successfully?
there's still going to be a classroom over there, so they.
There's still going to be a
have class.
classroom over there, and then they'll have an animal science space in the new building, so.
So then let me ask you on this. During that time period where we're redoing the middle school, old high school into the middle school, will they be able to still go to those classes during that
So that's
time?
a part of our plan, is that this will be able to continue to use, but when the new high school opens, you can use those spaces. They'll need to be fully, if it's going to operate as the high school, it needs to be operational day one.
So the middle school will they have their own shop too?
They'll have their own wood shop too. So that large space that's used for the metals, that'll just turn into the wood shop.
Gotcha.
So the
Okay.
two woods teachers, actually, it's kind of a cool opportunity for them to be side by side.
So that relays into a question that I had as far as, are there shared spaces right now that will be used by both the middle school and the high school student?
We've
But it
talked
sounded
quite a
like
bit
not.
about that, and we don't, we don't want, the district does not want that connection there. So there are ways to divide that e-building, which there's been some really fun thoughts about rebranding that e-building as your CTE hub. And there's ways we can completely divide it so that they don't cross paths.
What's the square footage of the new high school?
It is 200 and, put me on the spot, 226,000.
226,000? And what is the current high school?
The current price?
The current high school size?
Oh, yeah, it's 183,000.
183. And what's the maximum enrollment are you anticipating?
We're planning for a maximum enrollment of 1,200. So we're planning for growth, if for whatever reason that Hayes does grow, you can accommodate it in your space.
We're currently at 869.
Nice. We're closer to 1,000. Next year, we'll probably be at 1,000.
Kirby, I have two questions. The e-building skin, I call it the skin, the metal that's rusting from the ground up, are we going to redo that? Is that part of the remodeling?
So when it comes to the high school, a part of the fee will be to fix the piece that divides it, so that way the high school students are not interacting. But as far as the skin, that would be a part of the future project for that building.
That'd be part of the middle school?
We would need to review that estimate and double check that, but future project.
It's not, yeah, okay. And then, once upon a time, we talked about, we're playing football, and is the visitors' locker room on there yet? That was going to be down the road.
Yeah, that is not included.
That's not included.
Can you show me where we think that's going to go?
There's space along this side for that to go. That was a wish list item for sure that we would like to include if, I think, depending on how the bids come in, I think if that could be an item that we include, that it's a small piece that could be added, but at this point, it's not accounted for in the budget.
So, do you have any ballpark what it would cost to put that in now?
Yeah.
I do believe we,
It's a lot.
yeah, it was priced,
Well, I mean,
I'm
we're
sure
gonna-
they probably won't know it off
It's gonna be sooner or
the.
later, it's just,
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. It's from an estimate from a little while ago.
So-
But it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
some
there's
locker
stuff-
rooms and some storage, so.
Where will they go now? What would they
They'll
use?
go in the building. I mean, they'll just.
they'll have to use a
across.
locker room inside.
Yeah,
the
we
gym.
have locker rooms just right across. I
There-
mean, adequate locker room
There-
space.
yeah.
And that just made sense to us to not try and push, that was something right now, just seemed like the logical thing
Yeah,
we could do.
there are nine locker rooms in the new building, so they'll find one. I think that that one
I
can
guess-
be scheduled.
Cleats and all the other good stuff going across floors is.
Yes, and so the back hallway, where the locker rooms are here, that can be accessed from the outside.
Outside,
So
okay.
kind of a
Okay.
mud space.
That's very similar to like when we play at Garden City.
Yep.
They have a brand new facility, but our team walks up and into their high school and then walks back down. So that walk is very, very common in our league.
Yeah. I've been there, yeah. Thank you, that's all.
So, not planning to actually connect the E-building with the high school? Or is that incorrect?
There'll
Not
be just
actually
a
connected.
sidewalk connection.
So sidewalk connection. Is there any concern about that becoming a vulnerability for entry?
We've secured
people
the
who don't belong
entry
there.
points.
But if you have a predictable class schedule and you have a group of 30 kids moving across
Yeah.
a lawn,
So, well, this is my first thought is silly, but because they're going behind a multi-purpose field, we do have a large, tall fence so they won't get pegged with a ball.
and maybe fewer strangers see this happening.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
so,
I'd say it's very common. I mean, if we were on the East Coast or West Coast, all of their walkways are outside because of the weather. That's not for us, but
It's
that
more-
walk between buildings is very common, especially as you leave a high school and go to a CTE area. That is extremely common,
And
even in Kansas. So,
there is a fence too that is on one side, but right now it doesn't include that sidewalk, but if that's something that would, put that within a fence perimeter, if that would add comfortability there, that could be an option. It's
Well,
already, it's just north
I'd
of
just
it.
add too, we have kids come and walk out of that building every hour. I mean, multiple.
Propping the
kids.
band room door
Yeah.
open, all this stuff. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like,
There's
this
just
is-
no way to prevent or protect without just allowing them not to leave the building.
I think the college campus analogy, for better or for worse, is a good analogy, just it will operate like a more open campus in that occasion.
What's the distance?
It's like
Trying to
a-
think how I can measure on here.
I think you told me.
I could get back to you with an exact distance,
It was
but
between 150
if we look at
and
a
200 feet.
100-yard football field, less than 100 yards, I'd say maybe a 50-yard.
Because I'm old enough to, the E building and the high school were separated when I started teaching. And when it rained, we had to swim across to get to the other building, or pelted by the thunderstorm. So, I mean,
And there's snow would blow that.
and the water,
So
the water in that thing was
What's good
6 to 8
about-
inches deep.
What's good about the flexibility of your current building is even at a 1,200 capacity, there is still flex built in. If we run the numbers as tight as you can get them, we never run them at 100%. We're running it at 85%. So you can keep, on rainy days, if you wanted to, you could schedule it so that they're all within the high school
And
building.
you're just moving woods and kids that might have horticulture. Is that the only two groups here?
Yeah. I was going to say, just like Ron said, I've had students let me in before.
Yeah, so that's what those security, it'll be a camera that sees their face and a voice recorder. It's like trying to prevent that.
but even where we put the secretaries, that
Lots of problems.
the way the office is and the glass deck is there in that front entrance, the person that runs attendance can glance right over to that student entrance. There was a lot of intentionality to those conversations.
I
too.
thought I remembered
So
something
there's-
about that, so, yeah, so that person can't see both entries.
We really have a staff member kind of pointed towards the front, and we have a staff member pointed towards that student entrance. And then it's a long skinny main entrance on purpose that way. They really worked with us. We had a lot of conversations about that, so we knew where to put our people for line of
You
sight.
guys provided a great designer as a principal, so thank you. It really has helped us quite a bit. I mean, not in the best sense. He's got great design sensibility. So
Are we on target with our original estimate on the price?
we're really pleased to share that we are on target, and I thank Nabholz hugely for that. So they've been
And what is
a
that
great
amount?
partner.
What is that amount?
I will let
The
them speak.
total price for the high school,
Yeah,
we're sitting about 95 right now.
95 million?
Which, ST budget, we're within 1% of that.
And with the,
Is that above what we had originally planned? On that-
When we
that was
came at
posted on the website.
schematic design, we're under 3% of that number that we were at.
Under 3%.
1%, within 1%, so.
and
I
with
shouldn't
the,
speak numbers, I should just step aside.
with the site plan and the building plan, you're still meeting daily, weekly, tweaking it, making change order as we go. We're not set yet. We're still making a
We're
lot
trying to
of,
be as set as we can, but yes, I think, so we've got a couple more meetings with
Right.
teachers just to comb through, our engineers are constantly saying, oh, we need to move questions about the CTE space and the type of, I'm dust collector, the exact system, we need to make sure that this is exactly what they need. So we go and we schedule a meeting. So this will be our third round of teacher meetings. We're trying to finish up in the next 2 weeks, get every answer that we need and just run to the finish line.
I'm so glad you're looking at things like the greenhouse, not building a second one when the original one would work, and that will allow us to do some other things for the high school and make some change orders. That's just one example.
So when's the bid? I didn't catch that time. So when should we expect the bid?
We'll take it out to bid in June, and then should start locking in about mid-July. And so we'll start construction sometime in August.
This August?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so was it 19 million for Roosevelt?
There's down to 18. 18, 7, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the last one.
And so we still have renovations for the old middle school. And are we going to stay on target with that? Do we have enough with the
We
1.6?
we have looked through all of the other projects. As we go through this, we're very careful to tap into those. And when those conversations come up, we comb through all of that information, look at the budget. Nabholz has been so great about, we get those lists back out, we look at this, and we want to make sure we want to do the same kind of level of service for each building. So you guys got a great bond return on your bond, so that is allowing us to do more than what we were expecting. So
That's great.
it's great that you have a financially responsible community.
So you think we're sort of around 30 million left over to do those other 3 projects?
Gosh.
Yeah. I mean, rough.
To do Wilson or the new
The Laughlin.
Laughlin and then the old middle school? Okay, and then any changes that we need to make? What's the percentage
There's
that you try to
contingency.
have? For change orders or things like that? Is there a percentage?
There's contingencies built in, owner contingencies and our contingencies that will help kind of float that a little bit.
What percent is that usually?
It's different for each project, so I'm sorry, I don't know it off the top of my head. I think it's somewhere around 3%.
Yeah, usually.
Okay.
The bigger the project, the more, sometimes that fluctuates depending on the scale.
Now, I heard some things about gender-neutral bathrooms. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So yes, we've got private bathrooms. I think they can be, depending on who looks at it, called different things. But there was, when we initially kind of were talking about those, installing some of the schools within the state have also been interested in us looking into those. So we said, hey, there's this option. It's actually a great opportunity to save square footage. Your cost for your dollar goes further because you're not building in vestibules, which is like a block the views and it just adds quite a bit of square footage. So there's some sense there, but also just like the ability for privacy to use the restroom during the school day is the added benefit that comes with that. But it's not the whole building. So there are, if you count your locker rooms too, there's more than 50% of your bathrooms are the typical group bathrooms.
I'm glad Alan brought that up because there's been a lot of talk on, and being at the middle school for all the years I was there, bathrooms, privacy. We had kids not wanting to go to the bathroom all day because they had to go to a big boys and the big girls restrooms, and you've got all the different things going on. And a lot of the new buildings have private bathrooms, whether it's businesses or different large buildings where you can have a small bathroom, lock the door, and, I really hate that it's gotten political, and somebody said, well, a private bathroom is this or this or this. Private is private.
Right.
And that is a need for our faculty and for our kids. And why are we here? To make them comfortable at school and learn.
Yeah, the faculty are very excited about having, they've got key cards on their bathrooms and our own bathrooms, so they're very excited about that.
Okay, so I'm confused. So there's a boys' bathroom, a girls' bathroom, and you're talking like a family bathroom where?
Oh, so
Is that what
like
you're talking about?
at the athletics area, there's two large group, the typical main event where there's a men's side and a women's side, and at the auditorium. And all the locker rooms are, a men's side and a women's side. In the student wings is where we have these private bathrooms, and it's pretty open. And so the sinks are out in the open. And then there's just doors that have the individual stalls. So it's actually easier to monitor. People don't go, from a safety perspective too, a lot of what we heard was that a lot of the student bullying and things can happen in those bathrooms because they're not a monitorable space. And one of the criticisms of these is, students behind closed doors, that's also not good either. And so there's ways to mitigate that and with security cameras. So because it's an open space where you wash your hands, you put a camera facing, you can monitor that space, at a 10-foot height. So people it deters that kind of behavior and allows for.
So the porch is out in the open, the stalls back there. So are you telling me you can have boys and girls in that same
They're
area?
not really stalls, so they would be individual
So
rooms.
like a room with a door.
Basically like a closet, it looks like
And
six
the door
closets.
shuts.
The door
What's
shuts.
that? Yeah, so they're truly individual.
Okay, so as I'm walking in, that's open?
That area.
And viewable.
Yeah, well, you can't, no one can look under the stall.
I understand that. What I'm saying is if it's a closed area and you're going into a private area and there's boys and girls there,
Oh, so
that's uncomfortable to me.
Yeah, the area won't be private. The shared area is what's more.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is they go into these rooms with a door.
Oh,
Is that
I see what
viewable
you're
by
saying.
all, or is that not viewable by all? Because if some boy pushes a girl into one of those rooms,
So
because you can't see it, then
Yeah,
I
and that is
have
a
an
big,
issue.
that is a big concern, and so our way to mitigate that was with the cameras, that they're on this, they're caught, and it's also, there's the
I get
main-
that, but
the main- okay.
They're also
it might be too late, they got caught. If we can't see what's going on,
Yeah, but
As they're going in.
Kurt, the thing is, we have numerous spaces.
I
I
understand
really
that.
don't want to make this the issue, because this really isn't an issue. I will tell you that our students will probably be more excited about the bathroom situation than a lot of this stuff. Sean, you want to talk a little bit about? the issues
and I would
today?
I would tell you also, Mr. Wilson, Mr. Henry, I have gotten lots of concerns about this.
Me too.
Lots of phone calls.
And I just wanted to say that, so this is about privacy. Think of an airplane. There's 2 bathrooms in the back of the plane. You're flying around, you stand up, you walk in that room, you put vacant to occupied, and that's what you're doing. These bathrooms, we'll think 6 closets here, okay? They are in full view of the rest of the school, really. One of the places they are right outside the classroom, so there's 13 classrooms, or 7 classrooms upstairs, and then there's 5 restrooms right here. They have 9-foot entrances looking into them, plus the cameras, so there's also a lot of teachers right there. Another place that the bathrooms are located are right by the commons, right by the cafeteria. So like during lunch, to keep an eye on all of that is to just stand right here. Students will go in, lock that door, and then go. We also would not allow 2 students in one of those rooms, period. That would be, and as I've talked to some other principals, even today on the phone, they say it's unsafe activity, 2 kids in one stall.
Sure.
So,
And how many of these are there, locations?
There are in each,
I mean, in the whole building? Is there like 3 of these spots, or?
50% of the bathrooms are this way, right?
yes, so in each wing, there are 12 in one academic wing, 12 in the other, so 24, and then there's 10 right by the cafeteria. So,
And when
and
you
that's
say-
individual toilet.
And when you say 12, 12, and 10, you toilets.
Toilets.
because all that.
With
yeah,
closed
I'm sorry, I
doors on
should
the outside
specify.
of them.
Yes.
Like full doors.
Yes.
With handles and locks.
Is there districts now that have this, like I said, where at?
Shawnee Mission North and Northwest, both
2
have them.
that we know of in the state?
Kansas City School District.
North Kansas City School District.
And is it normally that, well, the whole school has this type of setup, right?
So
Not the performing arts area, I understand that.
Oh, for
But you
this
said
project
the student-
specifically?
yes, the
Yes.
student areas.
The student areas are where those are located.
Are there plans to do that at the high school, the middle school, the new middle school?
We haven't talked about that, but because that's an existing building, likely not. It will be just updating the current bathrooms.
How much is the expense more for this type of building?
So
Is it,
this is actually a more economical decision because of the square footage. It's a reduction in square footage too.
what about maintenance? Is it more of a?
I would think it's about the same.
about the same?
What's the name of that machine that they use?
Talk about it,
There's been a lot of
sanitation.
conversation, but I really feel at the end of the day, it's about privacy, and I would ask anyone, really, it's about that privacy and dignity of those individuals, and keeping people safe, that's every day.
Yeah,
We'll work on that.
safety is the phone,
100%.
safety is the phone calls I'm getting
I
and
agree
concerns.
with
This is much safer individual.
But I would tell you, our community bathrooms are probably the least safe place in our schools right now.
I'm not disagreeing with you, I'm just
Yeah.
telling you what, and I've gotten numerous. And I said, I don't have an answer, I'll get you an answer, so.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
We appreciate the updates and keep coming.
Thank you. Okay, will do.
Did an excellent job.
Yeah, thank you. It's been our pleasure, truly. Our team really, whole team is in love with Ron. We've got really
I can
great
see
people
why.
to work with. You make all the other districts not
If the
look as
building turns
good.
out like the new AstroTurf is like the cat's meow. My
that's
kids,
good.
Mike, go, where are you going? We're gonna go run on the new AstroTurf because a whole bunch of us are gonna meet there. And I was like, it must be the spot.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and go down on the agenda to 6.2, personnel transactions.
Oh, do you need her?
6.2.
6.2.
I asked that one. to be
Personnel.
removed. Is that, are we ready to discuss? Yep. The concern I have is with Mr. Wilson's wife, Andrea, and hiring her as a full-time teacher. In 35 years, we have not done that since I've been here. I think as a professional teacher, it's just going to be awkward for, the administrator and staff. I thought about it for a couple days. It's like the coach's kid, it's the teacher's kid. It's when the superintendent supervises the administrator's supervising the staff member. It's just, I have a hard time feeling that that's a good practice. And it doesn't feel good to me.
Okay, before we open it up for discussion, I guess we'll just go ahead and, do I have a motion to approve the personnel, and then we'll
I would
open it
so
up?
move.
for discussion?
I would so move.
Second?
Approve them as presented.
Second.
Okay, now, discussion on personnel. Just a reminder, if we're talking about personnel, individual teachers, we do need to go into executive session.
I think we're
I don't
talking
think the
about
conversation,
policy, though.
the conversation is about not the person. It's about the
But it is.
president. No, she can, he, she, whatever. It's never happened. I don't think it's good practice about hiring a spouse of a superintendent. And I've read through everything here, and it doesn't, it says board members, it does not say administrators. It
Kurt,
says
the one thing I
administration
would tell you, the last 4 superintendents who've been in this district, their wives never lived
I was
in the
about to,
district.
I was about to share that.
And so be. And so be.
But we're also not a district getting, from my understanding, and I don't, this would maybe be an HR question, but I don't think we've had, I mean, so in the 35 years you've been here, you've seen a vast amounts of change, but I think the culture of the teaching community, we're not getting the type of applications. So in sheer quantities, there's that, but in terms of, but you would agree, we're not breaking policy.
No, I don't,
It's-
I don't
it's-
agree, but
I mean, you would, no,
But
you're
the
saying that we're not breaking policy.
I don't think we're breaking policy. I just
That's
think
what
it's bad precedence. I think it is questionable from the community and the views from the outside.
Okay.
I do
For
believe
some.
this should be executive session conversation.
Anyway.
Yes, I agree.
Well-
Because we are an individual is who you're talking about.
Well, and I'm
not talking about, I'm talking about a position, not.
well, but you've already
No,
named
you're
a
talking
person.
about a person. And I would ask,
Well,
because this person.
Then I apologize. I did not mean to do that. I'm more concerned about the position.
I am willing to discuss the policy in open session. And the policy does say that the superintendent will inform any candidate that any candidate is a relative of the board or an administrator. So he has done that. He has met that priority. And this person will not report directly to him. He's not, and he is not involved in individual teacher evaluations. That is a very specific measure also addressed in the policy. And if a superintendent is involved directly in individual teacher evaluations, that's a big problem, which he has been very clear that he doesn't do. If we do need to go into executive session for this reason, I would ask that that the person who chose her, the principal of the school, also be invited as a measure.
To discuss in private, yes.
Yep.
So I mean, would we
so-
table this discussion for after that, or, and add it? It's too late to add it to the, I don't know.
Right.
Procedurally, I don't know what to do.
The principal who's had her on her staff for several years is also willing to go and visit with anyone privately.
Well,
No, I think it needs to be executive then.
Yeah.
Well, I think if we're going
We've,
to talk about the situation, then I'll be an executive, but I agree with you. I think with the policy itself of what you mentioned, I think we are following the policy.
I have a question about that. Our policy is a little bit different than KASB's policy, which I didn't know why it was, so I went back and tried to find it. It says it was revised on July 13th of 2015. And I'm assuming that when we've approved the policies, that's the date that it's on as revised, and the date the beginning was approved. And July 13th, 2015, there was a meeting. So, I'd like to know, and maybe find out more about why this one line was left out that's different from KSB and other districts.
What line was left out?
After where it says except of an emergency, there say, or in the case of individual is deemed to be most qualified candidate for the position by the board.
And that is one thing I have not heard in this discussion. I have not heard somebody say, if the best qualified person felt by the administrator in the building is this person, the superintendent, and we're going that direction.
I think that
It-
it's not
Mr.
the
Chairman.
individual, it's the policy. what we need to talk about to see if.
Mr. Jeter, do we need to go into
Okay.
executive session to further discuss it?
Yeah.
But, and it says administrator, it doesn't really even say superintendent. So this, but just know that all of this was considered, and it's being brought to you because of someone who has been working for the district and is a strong leader. It really has nothing to do with lack of candidates. It is the best person phenomenally to do the job.
Thank you.
And that's what you hire us, and that's our job, to present to you in personnel transactions, the best person to fill the vacancies, who's going to make an impact for teaching and learning, and we abide by the policy. So I just want to make sure on the record, when you go to vote here and whatever we do next, that's what's being presented to you.
Mr. President, I move that we move into executive session for 15 minutes to
I'm
continue this
uncomfortable
discussion.
Sorry,
I'm
sorry,
sorry,
you're making a
Sam.
motion. I need to appreciate that, sorry.
Okay, I have a motion to move into executive session for 15 minutes to discuss personnel.
Has it number one?
Or, okay, but my question, I need some clarification. If we're discussing policy, it needs to be an open session.
That's correct.
So somebody's going to have to monitor what's policy and what's,
I believe it's policy. That's what I
Well,
believe.
Mr. Jeter, you do believe that we need to be in executive session, correct?
The cat's already out of the bag.
Yeah.
We've been wavering back and forth
Yeah.
over what's private and what's...
We're already in trouble.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about.
I don't know what, I don't think the intention was trouble. And I have no qualms with qualification. I have qualms with, we have a spouse that's going to be hired that's underneath the superintendent.
Well-
That is my qualm.
I guess I'm trying
I'm
to,
just telling.
We do have.
I'm trying to stay out a little
We
bit
do need to go into executive
because
session
we've had numerous administrators in this building
I-
with wives teaching.
I know.
And I don't know why the exception is here.
I think the difference is, Mr. Pallister, is that every situation that we've had in the past, the supervisor was not supervised by or evaluated by their superior. Like in the case when I had hired your wife, you didn't supervise me, so you had no control over how I supervised that position. Same way with all the other situations we had, Mr. Straw, Mr. Albers, all those were not, their supervisor was not supervised by or evaluated by a supervisor.
You didn't respond to the superintendent.
Just so you know, I won't be supervising Mrs. Burns. Once my wife is approved, Mrs. Dinkle will be supervising
Thank you for that.
Mrs. Burns.
And
So we've already taken care of that, so.
Well,
But
that's
this-
good, and that would be good to know, because I know that that's what KSP would say is another option, but that's a board decision, not a superintendent.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to go into
Did
executive.
second, is it seconded? I don't know if
To
anybody
go into
seconded.
executive session, I didn't hear a second.
Who made the motion?
Ken,
I did.
Ken did.
but
I have
it
second.
hasn't.
I have a
Did you say
second.
Who's coming into
Is there a
the...
second?
Yes.
Who?
Lori.
Oh.
Did you say who's
Mr.
coming into
Jeter.
the session?
Oh, I did.
Correct. Mr. Pallister, I got a question for Mr. Jeter. Do we have to put the first motion on table to go in, since the first motion's already out?
No, because you'll come back out
Okay,
and then
all right.
act on the first motion.
Okay. And then we want everyone and then the two administrators, is that correct?
One
It
administrator.
has a path, that's right,
Yeah,
yeah.
Mrs. Lacy and Mrs. Burns.
Well,
included.
I call for a vote for
Oh, let's have a discussion, please.
On
About
going
going
into
into
executive session?
going into executive session.
Yes. On the motion, Mr. Pallister.
We had a motion, we had a second.
You
Okay,
need to
discussion.
clarify who you want in the executive session.
Who's doing that?
Yeah.
I guess I've never had discussion about whether to go into one or not.
Well, I think Wilbrock had a good point, is that we're talking a lot of policy, and you brought it up too, policy, so all these things we're talking about policy, we need to be back in open session. And I don't know, does anybody have a problem with this candidate?
No, we're not going to discuss that right
I don't think
now.
there is, so.
You're way out of order there.
All right.
I call for a vote, going,
Who needs, okay.
all,
Administrators? Sorry, it's your motion.
Who's
This-
coming? Who's-
The board, Mr. Jeter,
And the two principals.
the two principals,
Mrs.
and
Lacy and Mrs. Burns.
okay. We, for 15 minutes. All in favor of going into executive session for 15 minutes, vote yes?
Yes.
Yes. All opposed, vote no?
No.
Okay, we have 6-1. We will be going into executive session. We will be back in regular session in 15 minutes, 8:02.
Craig, are you kicking everybody out of here, or are you going upstairs?
Good.
No, we're staying here.
We'll stay here.
Sorry.
Thank you. motion to approve.
Already on the table.
It's already on the table.
Approved
It's already been first.
and seconded. I have the motion. All in favor of approval of the personnel transactions, vote yes.
Yes.
Yes. All of, against the personnel, vote no.
No.
5-2, approved.
Yes.
Yes, approved.
Okay, next agenda item was pulled from the consent agenda. This is on the disposal of district property. Alan, you brought this out of
Yes,
consent?
I have a question about the name change of calling it obsolete properties. When is that, I mean, all the state statutes and everything called surplus property, and I'm just curious about why that's changed. And
Just
Well, it's not surplus. It's, I don't know what you want to call it. It's obsolete. We don't need it anymore. A definition of obsolete is not needed. So
Does it
that's-
change the
Would that have
action
changed
of
your
labor?
vote, knowing the definition of that word and why we're using it? That's going to change your vote?
Have a little bit of
That
control
is,
here.
you know,
This is a
that,
separate
oh, yeah.
subject.
I call the meeting back to order. We have a discussion going.
Okay, so all our information says surplus property, the state statute says surplus property. The question I had last time was why we have separate things like Hayes High, when it all goes to the district and all of the other entities say, like City of Hayes, you look on City of Hayes, the hospital, it's the whole organization. Other districts, you look on there, it says District 289 or whatever, but ours, we separate it. Sometimes we didn't have any title at all, we just had Hayes. And so, can we be uniform with that and just say all things from Purple Wave goes to District US 49? So it's kind of confusing?
Sure.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I would like to move to approve the disposal of obsolete district property as presented.
I second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, vote yes.
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 All opposed, vote no. Thank you. Okay, we have two additional executive sessions that we will be going into. Let me find.
Are we needing two separate motions, Craig, or?
Well,
you're
no.
gonna do the-
We'll
you're
do
gonna
the first one on personnel. First, we will be going in for 15 minutes. Ron, who will be?
Administration, Bill.
The motion is to go into executive session for personnel matters for non-elected personnel in order to protect the privacy interests of identifiable individual.
I
So,
second.
Mr. Chairman?
yes,
So after this exec, we'll come back to
we will come,
public to do the second, to vote on the second exec.
and then we'll vote on the second
Okay.
one.
And I seconded that.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote yes to go into the executive session?
Yeah.
Yes. All opposed, vote no. And that was for 15 minutes, right?
Yes.
So we will be coming back out of executive session in 15 minutes. Looks like to me about
8:28.
8:28. We will come back in to public session and then immediately go back out for a third executive session.
Yep.
So right now, we're going to be in executive session. Thank you.
20 minutes.
15.